All right, excellent afternoon, viewers. Indeed, it's an excellent afternoon. I must emphasize, it's one thing that gives me pleasure to host you on Real Talk with Kike. I'm glad to be here to do that one thing that I love the most, that is giving you undiluted real talk to real issues with facts, live and direct from the studios of Silverbird Television. My name remains Kike Atanda-owo, and I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. And of course, I'm not here alone because I'm with my blessed, opinionated, exciting co-host. Let me start with you, Lolo. What's about this red air? How you doing?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to your favorite lunch hour show. I know Kike has it in for me, but what can I do? When you're dripping glory, you got to expect people to have an opinion. I love the hair, actually. Everybody knows that Lolo has colored hair. So welcome to the club.
Except me. Except me.
Welcome to the club.
Efo, how you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm well,
I must say
you.
you look radiant.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Lolo, I've told you that over and over again.
Because she has ponytail. Can you see my spiritual tail?
It's good to see you again, and welcome, viewer. Welcome to our show again today. Just sit back and relax, and let's have fun on this ride.
All right, Nigeria would never run dry with history. Our past is filled with different moments. Let's get a piece of what the history have to remind us on this day in history. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, 28th of September 2012, exactly 9 years ago, Nigeria suspended flights to Saudi Arabia after hundreds of Nigerian women traveled without a male escort. That year, Nigeria suspended all Hajj flights to Saudi Arabia after the authorities there deported more than 170 women who had traveled without a male escort. There has been an understanding in the past that Nigerian women are exempt from traveling with a male relative, a requirement for women on the Hajj. Nigerian diplomats say the agreement between the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria and the Saudi authorities allows visas to be issued for Nigerian women going to Mecca as long as they are accompanied by Hajj committee officials.
Efo, let me start with you because I know that exactly 9 years ago. All right, let me help you because you see both of you are not prepared. I believe that they changed the policy, and that policy is about women not going to Hajj without the male counterpart. And I feel that so many countries have their policies when it comes to tourism. So we Nigerians need to firm up our foreign relation and our policies as well, because for instance, my own takeaway from this on this day in history segment is the fact that we have Chinese, we have Lebanese coming to our country, they don't pay tax, and at the end of the day they are being paid a lot of money, even more than the Nigerians themselves. So I'm asking myself, what can we do better when it comes to things like that? I don't know, what's your take on this day in history?
Okay, on this day in history, I was just wondering, why would you have Nigerian women? Because I was wondering, I said, is it just the Nigerian woman? Why would you have them come, for Hajj in Saudi Arabia, accompanied by the male? It just didn't settle in me. And I'm like, you're going for a holy pilgrimage, so why must I come accompanied? And I think that's a gross violation of the Nigerian woman's rights.
Well, I don't think it's about our laws. I think it's about the Saudi Arabian
laws.
Yeah, it's
the laws. Yes.
Because if it's about our laws, we should have known before they even left the shores of the country that these are the things that are required. And that's where I begin to fault some of these things. Are you telling me you do not know the laws of Saudi Arabia before our women left the country? They spent money. They couldn't get that to Hajj. So there were a lot of things were lost. I want to know who planned this.
Lolo, can I interject there? They're saying from what we read that the Nigerian women were exempt at some point. So they're the ones who backed out on the deal.
Well, if it's about backing out, then maybe what Kike's angle can be. But even when they backed out, when did they back out? Is it that we had no knowledge before they even let that they had backed out? There's so many things
I believe it was unannounced.
Nigeria can be very, we have our issues. I don't want to use the word lackadaisical because sometimes there's some things that we should do thoroughly before we begin to do things. But we find out that we leave things to when it's told to us. if it's investigation
Like
now,
the fire
they will
brigade
help
approach.
investigate for us from foreign soil and give us the take here in Nigeria. So there are things we can do better. I know this shouldn't have happened, really. Whether they backed out on their treaty or something, there should have been prior knowledge.
Because
And that's why
about 170 women were
were sent back.
So my takeaway from this
Yes.
is that we need to firm up our foreign relation
Yes.
policies. What can we do to get better when it comes to other countries? Time Real Talk with Kike turns 2, and I'm so really excited about that.
I think you should really be excited about that. You know, it took a long time coming, and now that we're here, can you, for the benefit of the viewer, how did it all begin, Kike? I'd like to know.
Story.
You know, I like to tell stories. So,
Yes.
quickly,
You'll
because-
just say it in a way that it
All
will
right,
benefit.
So, all
you
right,
know.
so for me, the second anniversary of Real Talk with Kike is around the corner, like I said earlier. And let me use this moment to, at least for the first segment of the show, speak to our audience like you asked me to regarding the history of this talk show,
Yes.
how it was bettered, and how I reverted to the media profession. You know, yes, I think I started my career from media 19 years ago, thereabout, with this same station, Silverbird Television. Then at Yaba, they were in Sabo before we moved to Lekki and the likes. You know, I don't know who this may help or who I may be speaking to right now. I just want to inspire someone who is listening and watching us out there that Real Talk with Kike did not happen by chance. It was better with a purpose, and the circumstances surrounding it coming to air is part of the little I want to share today, just like you've asked.
Okay.
You know, I was, or am I going to say I'm a corporate trainer,
You still
a
are.
facilitator for organization, but the frequency at which the training jobs comes in, sometimes it's seasonal, and between those seasons, I'm always restless. You know, for anyone who knows me quite well, I'm a very active, spirited person with passion in all that I do. And I think in quest for searching for what would fulfill me, some friends suggested, oh, Kike going to fashion. Some people suggested opening a boutique. Some people said, Kike, you know, maybe interior decor, because they feel that I have an eye for those
good
kind of things.
Yeah.
You know, so I kept on digging deep. You know, and I found an answer to my question, and the restlessness for setting in regularly is that I studied mass communication in school.
Okay.
I went to Kingston University for international relations and the likes, you know, and a very good Samaritan helped me when it comes to reversion to media, which is the late Governor Ajumobi. Many times when I remember him, you know, I met him through my dad, and of course my girlfriend Bimbola, who was working with the radio station at the time, also helped me to just channel or tailor my skills down to what she felt that, you know, she was there when I was in the media space, and she knew
exactly where you would
what I
thrive.
had done. So in my other line of work, I stand to train decision makers in organizations and very prominent people in the corporate world. And the dream of going back to media was just similar. As far as I'm concerned, I felt that it's about impacting people, and it's applied to talking. And I enjoy talking, even though sometimes I could be shy when I'm in public. And that dream made me to take that last millions in my company's pocket at the time in ZH, you know, to just say, you know what, I will be paying for airtime on the radio, and that was where Real Talk with Kike began. And that period was a trying period for me, and it was when I experienced challenges. I don't like to talk about my personal life because I really don't like to show my vulnerability, you know, but I think for this moment, you know, because it's a moment of truth with what you've just asked me, I was going through some challenges at the time in my previous marriage, and I surmounted those odds and gave up some I don't know the right word to use right now, but I just gave a shot at my dream. So for those who are listening to me right now, whoever is listening, wherever you may be not be afraid of your dream. Start from somewhere today. Just start. be focused, and you will be shocked how you will be counting your anniversary in with your achievement. And there's a lot of women out there who have been pulled down with negativity. I think this belongs to you. Occasionally, I must show my vulnerability this time, that occasionally I feel pain and I get angry with myself on my past and how it tries to want to define me at the time. And I ask myself series of questions on why I deserve such an harrowing experience from my previous relationship, and why I got all the treatment and the statement from my previous partner. And I began to question myself. I looked down on myself, I must confess to you guys. Have I done anything wrong? What did I do wrong? Why do I give my all and I still get disappointed? So for those who are listening to me right now, I want to say that you might be in similar shoes. I want to tell you that it is okay for you to get angry sometimes. I want to tell you that it is okay for you to brood about your past once in a while and regret certain things. But it's much more important to understand that forgiveness and healing is very important. And particularly forgiving yourself for some errors that you might have made in the past, which is key for me. So on this note, FO, I would say that owning your journey and working hard to change your status and the condition will take you out of the pain, and you will find healing, and will definitely turn things around for positivity. But I think the last word that I would like to put out there is that remember, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. Hello, Abi. Hi, how you doing?
I'm great, and congratulations on your 2 years.
Thank you, thank you so much. I know we've kept you waiting and we've lost so much time, so let's just go straight to the topic of the day. First thing first, I admire the fact that you are the CEO and the founder of Human Capacity Development Consultants, and I must say congratulations on your achievement thus far, because going through your resume, I must say I was impressed, and I'm curious to get to the heights in your career. There must have been some hurdles that you've crossed. So can you tell us some of those challenges as a woman and how you surmounted them?
Oh, wow. As you know, many challenges. But, I look at challenges as, those things that happen to us so that we get better, we get stronger. So there have been professional challenges, there have been personal challenges. But I think really they're just normal parts of life, especially the professional challenges. I was lucky in my profession because I never worked for any organization that was, misogynist or, put women down, not once in all the organizations I worked with. And, I worked with great men. The best boss was the boss I spent a lot of my time and development with, Bode Augusto. So yeah, personally, a lot of people know my story. I had a very devastating marital breakdown, a bit like you from the sound of it, Kike. I brought up and fended for my 3 children substantially alone, and but here we are. It makes you stronger. It makes you better.
Thanks for that.
Wow, awesome. I'm always, and thank you very much, Abby. It's a very interesting angle you just threw in. I'm just wondering, is there a possible win for us women that we can actually balance life, relationships, and our careers? Because I'm beginning to look at the indices, it feels as if the higher we climb career-wise, every other thing falls apart. What are we not doing, or what should women be doing to maintain that balance, if possible?
Honestly, I personally don't think that is it. I think as young women, we don't train young women early enough to know who they are and to be self-aware, and so choose the right partners for them. There's an example I always give my young mentees. You want to be CEO of a Fortune 500, and then you fall in love with a fine bubble who says you should cook stew. He wants to eat fresh stew every day. It's not going to work. So we must teach our children to be aware and to have the vision of what they want to do in future, and then get the partner that aligns with that vision. And if not, we need to teach, especially in our society, that you don't marry to fulfill, tick a box or to be complete or accepted. You get married when you meet the right person that you can't see yourself spending the rest of your life without.
Wow.
Abby, it's good to have you join us. So I would like to ask, taking it to your career now, away from the women talk, who is a performance strategist, a business performance strategist, for the benefit of our viewer?
Great question. What I do as a business performance strategist is help businesses look at their vision. This is where we want to get to. This is where we are. So what are the strategies that we need to employ to get to where we want to get to? And then also, how do we need to perform? And then we all know that, the team is very important, and the performance of the team. So we look at the indices, what we call the key performance indicators of your team, to look at how their performance aligns with the objectives. We look at, the big picture. We always hear talk about balance, but a lot of the time it's really about synergy and alignment. So we look at how your team aligns with your corporate objectives and your vision as an organization. So in a nutshell, that's what performance strategy is all about.
Right, Abi, many thanks for that. I think that as a finance expert that you are, I understand that most women seek financial independence, and that is what leads to some of them to do what they do eventually, to get dirty, maybe while trying to seek for this support. So I must ask you, how can women overcome financial challenges in setting up their businesses to avoid any scandal or any negative stories out there?
Great question, Kike. First, let me start by, I really want to address this issue of when a woman is successful, her sex life suddenly comes into the question. When a man is successful, we don't discuss his sex life. So I think it's just a hatred for women in our society that their sex life becomes a topic of conversation when they're successful. One has nothing to do with the other. And then to address financial independence, that's my purpose, that's my life's passion. Because when women are not financially independent, they get abused, they get beaten, all sorts of things happen to them, not to me personally. But we all know stories of women who've been thrown out or who live in abject horror because they're not financially independent. So what I do is I help women chart their path to financial independence. We look at your superpower. Everybody has a gift. We look at how you monetize it. We look at your expenses. We all know, especially women in our society, we spend a ridiculous amount of money on consumables like weaves and, I'm not saying don't look nice, but let's look at your budget. Let's look at your portfolio and let's put it all into perspective. So going back to how we can build a society where women embrace their worthiness, we really need to understand that we need to teach our women, our mentees, our children, that they are worthy, that they, in themselves, they're complete. They're not on the shelf. They're not incomplete without anyone, and help them to plan their life, plan their vision, so that when they have a life partner, he's a complement, he's a partner to them, not that their lives are on hold. And then back to this issue of, chastity of a woman. A woman shouldn't need to prove her chastity in the professional arena. A woman's sex life should not come into question in the professional arena. I don't want to hug the conversation.
Yeah, I think you might like to hug the conversation after this follow-up question, because listening to you, you're talking about building the society, and I'm sorry to put it out there. I know the way I want to put it now, because I know that recently this month was tagged September to Remember. And that's because of so many stories that was involved with women slipping their way up to their career. So it's a big deal for me, and for women who I know that they will be dented with this kind of story or with this kind of image in the society. So I must ask you, Abi, what's your opinion about people generalizing women in this kind of narrative?
Kike, first of all, I think it is wrong that any woman, you, I, or any woman should have to defend herself. I didn't sleep my way to the top. That's ridiculous. First of all, I mean, I read some of these stories and I can categorically tell you that a lot of those stories are lies, you know. So here we are. I don't know what proportion of those stories are not true, but the point is, whatever happens between a man and a woman in the bedroom is just there. We all know that a lot of people tell lies about these things. So the things I want to address, first of all, what does a woman's personal sex life have to do with her professional success? Nothing. You know, like a friend of mine used to laugh when, you know, they talk about all these stories about women sleeping their way to the top. He would laugh and say, you know, we all know that you can get it for a recharge card. So why would I give a woman billions to sleep with her? But at the end of the day, I am not saying the stories are true or not true. I'm saying that they're irrelevant. I am saying they don't even come into question. Have you ever heard a discussion about a successful man's sex life?
Something to
wow,
ponder. That's something to ponder.
I enjoyed that because a lot of people have demonized women in that regard when we don't need to answer to it. Because what happens in your private life is totally different from your work life. Very exciting, Abi. Let me move into women in leadership, especially now that we have like the election in view. What is your take on women in politics? Do you think we're ripe enough? Do you think we have the mettle? Do you think we have the will to be able to take the reins of affairs in this country? I'm even converting the #1 spot in the country. Is it a possibility? What's your take?
You know, my scriptures say that there's an anomaly in society where the princes are walking and the slaves are riding horses. That is the situation I see with women in our Nigerian society. We all know that the women are the more capable. We know that the women are the more accomplished. We know that the women that get into power actually do better. Look at the countries in the world where the women are in power. Look at what's happened and how those women are being led. So I know that we have a lot of history and we have a lot of baggage to overcome, but there's no doubt in my mind. Do you think if Nigeria was being run by women, do you think it would be in the mess it is today? Of course not. It wouldn't be. So there's no doubt that we're beyond ready. And I would even go further than to say that until we see a sizable proportion of women in leadership in the society, we're not going to do very well. Our progress is going to be tied to a significant proportion of women in power in our society.
Many times before you go on, okay. I think it's important for me to quickly open our phone lines. Please remember that you can be part of this conversation by calling our studio number 080-988-77400 showing on your screen right now. And of course, remember that we are live on Silverbird platform on YouTube and of course on Facebook page as well. And of course, Real Talk with Kike is also live on Facebook page, so you can be part of this conversation.
Okay, Abi, thank you so much. I'd like to ask you at this point, will there be any set of businesses your services will optimize at this point? Or are you looking at a vast range of businesses? What is your actual focus so that people can use your services?
Okay, my focus with businesses is especially businesses that offer services, professional services, especially because those are the areas where the people and the performance of people are most critical. We do work for a lot of businesses who offer professional services, you know, lawyers, accountants, just mainly service business. Of course, we do work also for businesses that are not in the service arena, but that's where, you know, our specialty and a lot of the work we do lies.
Abi, you know, earlier when we're talking, and I think I picked something from the conversation you mentioned, talking about women ready to lead us. And I must say, when you mentioned the Ziani, you know, it rubbed off on me in a very funny manner. And what do I mean by that? Because I know that Desiani came into power and she did some certain things, you know, certain type of things I really don't want to go into right now, but they were ill behaviors. So I must ask you, you know, what would be the difference for a woman and a man to lead us in this present moment, knowing that there are quite a number of things that women do today that men cannot even try, and that's the truth.
So first of all, I didn't mention Desani.
No, she didn't.
No. I think one of the stories. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for every Desani that's female, there's 100 men that do just as bad. So I don't think, Desani. I think Desani is just a proportion of representative of greedy and, evil people if the allegations are true. So it's not because she's a woman. So in a society, 50% of our society is female. And like I said, there will be less than 50% of females who do terrible things. So back to your question, of course there'll be women who do terrible things, but I'm talking about in the whole scheme of things. And if we look at proportions and percentage wise, women are a lot more capable, a lot more competent, and do a lot better good than evil. The problem with our society is the women that have gotten into positions that we know have integrity, that we know don't steal, that we know, do the right thing, they're very quickly frustrated out of the positions. I mean, we can mention Aruma Ote, Yewande Sadiq, who is going through hers. There's so many examples of women who would make a difference. I was on the team that worked with Madam Obi Ezekwesili. Oh my goodness, if that woman was allowed to finish what she was doing, our education system will be world class. So I don't buy that narrative that they want us to buy.
So much. I love your submissions, very enlightening. Now, now that we talked about education, I'm thinking about the girl child. What is the fate of our girl child? Because this is society that we're talking about. They are the ones sexualizing our women, even from very young. We're making them believe that, okay, maybe sex is power, all those misconceptions. Where do we start this correction from, or reorientation? Is it on the table of women, their mothers, or is it the school? Or how do we re-educate our female, the girl child that is still growing? Because I think that's the next generation we should be focusing more on.
I think there's so many conversations to be had, and the conversations are to be had in different places. I remember reading a beautiful story about some women, some African women. I'm not sure where in Africa. I know they were Nigerian, and they were sitting down and talking, and there was a woman who was listening to them, and she came up to them and said, all of you beautiful, smart women, why aren't you married? And they said, "Ma'am, did you raise a son for me? Did you raise a husband for me?" So I think the truth is that a lot of these conversations that we're having about the girl child, at the same time, we better be having conversations about the boy child. And the conversations need to be different and varied. With the girl child, we need to be telling her that she's powerful, she's worthy, she's intelligent, she can be or do whoever she wants to be. I don't think we should be having conversations with our girl children about how they should fit in, or they should live their life according to somebody else's dictates. I don't think so. I think our conversations, and like you say, around sex, should be also about sex education and about choice and spirituality, and the importance of their spiritual growth, and the importance of sex and sexuality on their spirituality. But I don't think it should be the conversations I'm hearing now about shaming the girl child and telling the girl child that if she's raped, it's her fault, and all this nonsense that I'm hearing now in our society. It is the role of especially mothers. I have two amazing children. In fact, my last daughter is 21 today. And I have a son. I have three amazing children, and I raised my children to know that they're all equal and different. I raised my children to realize that they bring different things to the table, whether they're male or whether they're female. They're not defined by their gender. They are defined by what they bring to the table. And those are the conversations we need to be having with our children. Sorry, I can go on and on about this. It's a pet peeve.
I just like to add to what you just said, and I stand to be corrected. I want to believe that, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. We're talking about our values now. We're talking about raising our children in the correct way. What about going back to the school curriculum? I don't know what your take is on this. Because days were when we studied civics in school. You know, all of that have been taken out of the curriculum. You know, because you can't give what you don't have.
I think it's critical. And I think especially now that we have a society where a lot of the mothers don't even have these values, just through no fault of their own, just the way they've been raised and, you know, the trauma they've been through. I think it is important that those conversations come to school. And I think it's crucial. We can see as a society that we need civics, we need integrity, we need values back in our curriculum like yesterday.
You know, I'm sorry, I've been keeping a lot of callers on hold, but I just didn't want to interrupt your line of thought, and I think we just lost a Fosa from Benin. You know, I must say that thank you so much for creating time to be on the show today, despite the short notice, and happy birthday to your daughter. But before we let you go, there's a trending, there's a segment that we call trending stories, and this is a story that affects us all, that binds us all together, even though you're in UK diaspora, but you still remain in Nigeria. So one of the story that caught our attention is that of the Nigerians abroad campaigning for Tinubu's presidency ahead of 2023 election. I want us to reflect on this, you know, and the people in diaspora trying to support him. You know, Efo, let me start with you. What's your take on it when you saw this?
Well, when I saw it, I said, number one, Chief Ahmed Bola Tinubu is a Nigerian. He has his rights to the presidency, just like you have the right. Lolo does, I do. We're all Nigerians. And what is all this looking at? We're looking at making a better nation. If those in diaspora say they're backing a Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they're there, out there. They're not here with us. They're not taking the heat with us here. They do not exactly, all they thrive on is hearsay. But you come and join us in here. Come and join us in here and see what we're going through before you want to impose somebody on us from outside the country. That's really my take.
I do not even think anybody can impose anything on anybody. This is their opinion. They have every right to support whoever they have they want to support, as long as it's fulfilling all the constitutional rights to contest an election. But this is where it lies. What do you want as a people? Gone are those days that Nigerians should sit back and let things be thrown at them. We need to stand for something. Because if you do not stand for anything, everybody will push whatever they want to you. If I don't like rice, I shouldn't be forced to eat it. So if some people want Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be president, they have their right. And I might have a right to say, no, I don't want him there. So everybody should just exercise their own rights. Pure and simple.
Lolo, let's bring this home now. We're talking about they have their rights. Do they have a right to vote in diaspora? The answer is no.
Not yet, so he probably doesn't count.
All right. You know,
And I think it's really important that we're careful about saying they should have their own opinion, because, you know, when you leave a fire to fester, it turns into a tornado. We should be shutting down anybody who is talking about anybody over 60 becoming president of Nigeria. Enough is enough. Let the old men go and sleep.
All right, so for me, you know, as per Tinubu contesting for 2023 presidency, I don't have a problem with that. As per people supporting their candidates, I also don't have a problem with that. I think what I have issue with is the fact that Tinubu not coming out publicly to declare himself. I think is, you know, in terms of his ambition for 2023, you know, what I have issue with is that those in diaspora, you know, campaigning for him without public declaration from him. As far as I'm concerned, I think that that's suspicious, you know, and they say silence says a lot. And the first question that is that, who is funding this campaign, Abi? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm asking myself, who has the wherewithal to do so? The cost of ads abroad is expensive, Abi. Yes. It's not about, let's not deceive ourselves. A legit Nigerian working abroad, you know, you find out that they know the value of dollar and a pound, which they, you know, they spend their ad and dollar on campaigning bills after working almost 3 shifts in a day. When I travel and I give friends and maybe family dollars and the likes over there, and though they appreciate it, but they give me that strange look like,
where are you coming from?
This heavy currency?
Yes.
So let's not deceive ourselves. Someone is sponsoring all of this, and Tinubu should just, you know, simply spell out his motives so that people don't live on speculations. I personally just think that rather than Nigerians in diaspora wasting money on all these that they can channel all of this to resources that can better things right here back at home that Nigeria needs. You know, when I watch the video, Abi, look at the ground station. Look how beautiful it is. Do we have such back at home? I'm wondering that why do we have people in diaspora and they are the one campaigning when they know that that wouldn't count? Is it that they are trying to influence the people back home? So many questions came to air. So by and large, if you ask me, I think that just like Lolo said, it's time for us to wake up and to begin to hold the destinies in our hands against 2023, yes, to vote the right person in. Another mistake can be, you know, can be way too costly for the next 4 years and beyond. And Abi, you know, you've been with all your submission thus far. I must say that I agree with you, except the fact that you're saying that once they are 60, they should go and sit somewhere. I mean, when they are 60, they can still run. As long as they're going to be impacting values, as long as we're going,
that's her opinion.
It's not about age. Yes, Abi.
It's your opinion.
Why 60? Why do you think that after 60? Okay.
No, I agree with you and I repent. In fact, it's against my values and it's against everything I preach for, to say older people. I believe, you know, life starts at 40, 50, 60. I just find these old men who are sick, they should just go and rest.
Thanks, Abi. Many thanks for being on this show today. And I know that quite a number of people were trying to call in, and I apologize for that because I know that we have to release our guest because of today's our daughter's birthday. And I must say, happy birthday again to your daughter. I'm so proud of all you've done thus far. And I pray that God gives you longevity to be able to eat the fruit of your labor. Many thanks again, Abi, for joining us on the show.
Amen. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Lola, Kike, and I didn't get your name. It was being here. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, many thanks for that. So before we round up, I think I want to also use this opportunity to wish my PA happy birthday. Yesterday was her birthday. That's Big Shokpeyi. And I must say that I appreciate you beyond words. I know sometimes I could yell at you. Sometimes I could be so hard. But the fact that you understand the pace at which I work, the fact that you are so committed to what's to the vision of both organizations, because you know she fits into both umbrellas, and I must say that I'm so proud that our paths, I'm so grateful that our paths crossed, and I love you so much, Binkwe. And she's the closest person. I think one of the closest persons to me. Sometimes I tell people that your PAs.
Very key.
Tell me about it, Lola.
They can make or break you.
That's why my PAs are always men. I can't cope with women. And you were going to do some more giveaways.
All right, many times again. I think that was the reason why they were telling me that we need to wrap up now. All right, quickly. Gosh, there's a lot of giveaway out there regarding Real Talk with Kike turning into. I would like people to take advantage of this. I want to impact people as much as I can, and I'm grateful for my sponsors who always jump at at this. Every time I go to them for anything, they're quick to, want to help. I really love this beautiful flyer. I think my technical director actually pulled a fast one on me because I didn't know this would be pulled up today. And I want to use this opportunity to say that there are many more giveaways that I'll be posting on Real Talk with Kike social media. So please catch up on all our handles. I'll be live tomorrow on Inspiration FM as well. And of course, on Thursday, we'll be back here. And next week, we'll bring all the winners to the studio. And you can be part of those winners. If you know that you're a hardworking woman, a single mother, a widower. Of course, I also want to appreciate all those who have remained loyal, my fans that are always responding to everything that I post out there. Because many a time I go to other people's pages that they have almost 100 and something followers. I'm looking at my own Shanko followers. They are so active. They are responding. Even though sometimes some of the questions they ask me, I'm like, are you not reading the caption? But
is it just about women? You're just talking about the women. What about the men? You have followers.
All right, so for the men,
yes,
I will be appreciating the men who have remained loyal. I will be appreciating the men who are.
Yes,
but my focus focus is women, and that's the truth.
Okay.
I want to support.
No, I just wanted clarity.
Yes, I want to support I want to support more women as much as I can, especially single mothers, especially widowers, and especially women who are still in school, struggling and trying to also find ends meet and all of that. I think that is really, really important to me, and that was actually what bettered Kike Up Foundation. And I think I really don't want to derail from that.
No, that's it. Fantastic. I just wanted clarity so that at least going by the first question.
All right, you're clear now.
Yes, I have, so that the viewer also is clear on that.
Sorry, are we part of the giveaway?
All right, with that, we've come to the end of another episode of Real Talk with Kike. Indeed, it's been an awesome show on today's edition of Real Talk with Kike. Courtesy our resourceful guest. And I must say thank you again for coming, Abi Longe, and many thanks for honoring my invite despite the short notice. On this note, I must say please keep being real and remain blessed. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.